Yo, welcome back to the channel everyone. Hope you guys are all doing well. It's Oscar, and man, I told you guys last summer these hordes are just gonna keep coming out, and yet again we have another one, but this one isn't like a Nevada horde. It is sort of a higher end chip horde, we could say, but it's actually from a Florida day cruise, one that used to be in Key West, called the Dixie Duck Showboat and Casino. It almost has like a character that looks like Daffy Duck on the inlay, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that know what the chip is. Those that are that don't primarily collect Nevada chips, but those that collect kind of out-of-state chips and more for Florida and, let's say, the harder to find out-of-state. If we're talking in terms of Nevada chips, these are pretty much up there. The ones very hard to find, and the 50 center is very hard to find. The fives, they are hard to find, but the 25s and 100s, from what I looked up, those have sold quite a bit over the years since 2016 all the way up to the most recent one being April 5th, 2022. So let's kind of talk about what they are. Obviously, we're going to have the picture on the screen so you guys can look at them. There was a person named Ryan O'Reilly who posted them on the Casino Chip Collectors Facebook group, which sort of how these hordes are usually found. Somebody usually posts something there, so it's seen there first, and then I happen to see it on PCF2. So pretty interesting stuff. So obviously in the picture you can see 5s, 25s, 100s. There you can see racks of the 5s. I'm presuming those on the left side there's racks of 25s, and then there's some 100s. So the information that I've got on PCF as far as the quantities, and I got the quantities from the user Rain Manas. Chatted with the owner briefly. They were gifts from a friend who pulled them from the dumpster when the place closed. He's got 200 plus 5s, slightly less than 400 of the 25s, and about 80 of the 100s. He put a little extra thing. All in all, a really fun horde to turn up. I'm sure he's been inundated with offers already. I know the people in the Facebook group chat, they were going wild, which is pretty cool. So let's kind of talk about the value, or let's go ahead and talk about the history of the place first. So I was able to find an article, or we'll read the chip guide description first. The Dixie Duck boat out of Key West sailed under two owners, the first of which used the famous duck chips. The second owner used the Dixie Duck name but did not get the Dixie Duck chips and ordered Coastal Gaming chips. The boat moved to Miami and used the same Coastal Gaming chips, sailed as a casino boat and strip club that had private rooms for an added fee. Now it doesn't say when the place opened on Chip Guide, but I was able to find an article from '95, June 24th, 1995, on the Tampa Bay Times, named "Gambling Set to Sail Away. Tonight brings the farewell cruise for the city's only gambling boat. The Dixie Duck Showboat and Casino is moving to Key West." And the reason was they're looking for a faster boat to the market. That way the boat can quicken the 13-mile trip from the dock into international waters where it's legal to gamble. Obviously in places like Florida at the time, gambling wasn't legal, similar to Nevada and California. They had to actually, boat and motor 13 miles out to the international waters outside of basically the U.S., so they could gamble. Right now, the passage from the docks can take about 2 hours each way, leaving only about 2 hours of gambling time on a 6-hour cruise. The 85-foot red and white Dixie Duck is better suited for the work in Key West, where the trip to international waters will be shorter. Its new home will be at the Key West West Conch Harbor. And the cost at the time for that was $18 for dinner and a cruise, or just the cruise for $10. So for $10 you could have gotten on the boat. For $18 you could have gotten on the boat and a dinner, which would have been a deal at that time. I don't know why anyone wouldn't have done that, but yeah, it's interesting. I've seen people post about these chips on the chipboard before, and I think on Facebook. I never realized the kind of significance of them, but they obviously are a harder to find Florida chip, which is interesting. Let's see, the most recent ones, or let's kind of talk about what they used to sell for. So in 2016, there was a lot of a 5, a 25, and 100 sold for $152. And the 25 and the 100 at that time were each selling for about $30 a chip. Fast forward a couple of months later, a similar lot of a 5, 25, 100 sold for almost $200. But the 25 and 100 seems to be selling, they sold in 2016 on and off for 25, 36, 40, yeah, 30, $60 for the pair of the 25 and 100, and then even as cheap as $12 for a 25, $18 for a 100. I mean, the prices seem to be coming down on them, but the most recent one sold for $25 on the 25 and $29 for the 100. So it's still a wanted chip by many people in the chip community. Obviously, it comes a little bit of a surprise that there was I guess we could say it's a HOARD found. I'm sure it's not the only set of the chips, but it's interesting that they were found in a dumpster when the place closed. So obviously the cash value was gone when the place closed, but I don't know why the people just dumped the chips. It makes no sense, but I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to have that set to play with, because you have a playable set. You have 200 of the ones, you got more of the 25s and then 100s. That's a perfectly playable set, whatever the person has. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. Like I said, these HOARDs are just going to keep coming out. I'm sure this won't be the last one for the year. So just interesting that it is a Florida day cruise from the late 90s that the chips finally kind of showed up in a large quantity. So I don't want to make this too long. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like. If you have any comments, put those down below. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Share the video with your friends and families, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.